Stephen Day, thank you so much for being on the Collide Kids podcast today.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is great. I'm excited to talk to you today about all the things that you are passionate about and your book. Would you just introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Stephen Day. I teach economics at Virginia Commonwealth University. And also I teach teachers how to teach about money. And I do this with the Virginia Council on Economic Education. And we just try to help teachers do a better job teaching their kids in their class about how money works.
That's amazing. So you're teaching like college level teachers, or you're teaching like for elementary teachers and middle school teachers?
I do all the levels. I have a special economics class for future elementary and high school teachers both.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So they have to take this class in college, and a lot of them don't like it. But I do the version where I say, like, if you come to my class, you're going to be a better teacher, and I'm going to show you interesting and fun things to do in the classroom.
That's awesome. Okay, well, I'm excited to talk with you about this because I know a lot of parents that are listening right now when you said money, and their ears perked up because we need to learn about this. I need to learn about this. So even if no one is listening today gets anything out of it, I hope that I will. But before we do that, because this is a show for kids, I always ask my guests to tell me a joke. So do you have a joke for us today?
Oh, sure. It's a joke about animals. So it's for kids that know a lot about animals.
Okay.
So why do flamingos stand on one leg?
Oh, I don't know.
Because if they didn't stand on any legs, they'd fall down.
That is true. That is true.
Now, this is an important joke because I told this joke as part of a joke-telling business that we had with our lemonade stand when I was a little kid. Like, I didn't want to only make money on lemonade. I tried to make extra money telling jokes, and that was one of the jokes that I told and got paid for it.
I love that. Okay, so how much did you charge per joke?
It was a long time. So it was 5 cents per joke, which I think in today's money, that would be more like 15 or 20 cents.
Okay. That reminds me of like Lucy from Peanuts, who had the counseling stand for she would give out advice for 5 cents. So there you go. You were giving out jokes.
Yeah, and Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes too.
Oh, yeah.
He'd give things that people needed but didn't want, and was surprised that no one paid him.
Right.
My mom had just gone grocery shopping, and my brother said, I'm going to start a business, because my dad was always talking about how starting a business was a good thing. Yeah. So my brother just took our family groceries and tried to sell them to us. But my dad, when we finally opened our lemonade stand, he made us pay all the cost of the lemonade. And that's why I had to tell the jokes, because we weren't making enough money just selling the lemonade.
Yes, because a lot of times you don't think of when you start a business, there's costs to start. Like there's things you have to do. You have to buy the product. You have to buy the advertisement. Even if that's a poster board and a marker, there's still things that you have to do. So people don't think about all that kind of stuff. So that's really smart of your dad that he helped you guys learn that. Is that where you got your passion for spending and business and all of that is from your dad?
Yeah, well, my dad was in kind of the same line of work that I'm in. And he showed us how to make this mini economy, this play economy. When I was a little kid, we actually had a play economy too. And that taught me the real basics of money and business. And I wanted to pass that on to families nowadays. So that's why I wrote Teach a Kid to Save. And yeah, it was originally my dad's idea.
That's really cool. And so, yeah, so you wrote this book about a mini economy. Explain that a little bit, because some people might be listening like, what? What is this about? Tell us about your book.
Kids develop habits about money when they're elementary age. Mm-hmm. But that's the age that we tend to miss teaching kids about money. And sometimes when we do teach kids about money, maybe we have an allowance, or maybe we teach them lessons, but the kids don't really get the practice that they need to develop strong money habits. And they rarely get practice as producers, right? Sometimes they'll have an allowance and they'll spend the money. But, I think parents need more of a system to give their kids the practice that they need. And so I made this kind of household system where both parents and kids have chores, and they get paid in play money, and then they buy and sell things at the household store. And it's pretty easy to set up, but I show you how to do it in the book. But what it does is it creates family conversations, and it allows the whole family to talk about money and allows kids to imagine what's going on in a way that they usually don't get to.
That's true, because especially when kids are younger, like you said, when they're elementary, we parents maybe would shield them from understanding a lot of things about money, or we just give them money, or they always go to grandparents' house and they get $20 and they're like ready to go spend it right away. So tell me a little bit about how you have started, about the system you're talking about. Tell me how would you set that up? What are some tips you have for parents who are like, okay, I'm interested in this?
Yeah. So in the book, I start with a quick start guide. Like if you just want to do this little system for a couple weeks as a game, you can. It doesn't need to change your life. But what you do is you assign jobs, and it works better when everybody works together. That's just one of the many kind of lessons that you pick up along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But the little kids get to color and design the play money in the house. And then both parents and kids get paid in play money. And then after everyone gets paid, then the kids have a choice. Are they going to spend on something little now, or are they going to save for something big later?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to sort of set their savings goals. And when they see, and since everybody does this at the same time, you have your little household store where you have maybe dollar store items or privileges. The parents can sell coupons for privileges, like stuff that parents often say no to, but sometimes say yes to. Like this way, the parent doesn't have to make choices all the time about whether I'm in a good mood or not, or it can just be, the kids can buy a coupon for the extra screen time or whatever. And that way it means that the kid has to decide how valuable that is to them. So it's not just about bugging the parents for screen time. It's about, do I want to save up to get something better later, like a toy? Or do I want to spend my money on screen time now?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple to do. What I notice is that parents can be a little intimidated because it doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes some intentional planning.
Yeah.
You have to decide what you're going to do ahead of time. You have to sort of change your habits. But what I've found out is that that's exactly what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Changing your habits can be a little bit intimidating, but kids need to start setting different habits. And it starts with the family practice together, so that it's not just deciding at the last second, do we buy this? Do we buy that? No, like you have plans ahead of time and you're a little more intentional about what you do. And I think that the kids carry those habits on into adulthood. I know I did. I showed teachers how to do it in their classrooms. So we've observed it working in other places. So I think it can work for parents. That's why I wrote Teach a Kid to Save, because I think that parents can really get something from this.
Absolutely. So this sounds like a really elaborate chore chart. Is that what this is, or is it more than that?
No, it's not an elaborate chore chart. We give each kids some pretty simple jobs. And each job has a job title. And that way people have responsibility for what they do each week. And what I find is that chores work better when there is some skill involved. That's something parents often miss.
That's true.
I talk about this a lot in the book, and the importance of skill and competence in setting up chores, because a lot of times we just assign the kids jobs that are drudgery, like pick up your stuff.
Yeah.
And they definitely should. And there's an aspect of that in every job. There's always cleanup, but then it's important that parents set up creative jobs and creative work, stuff that the kids have to develop a skill for. But elaborate, no, it's not elaborate. Again, It just takes a little bit of intentionality, which takes a little bit of learning,
Yeah. So I know for me growing up, my parents would give us an allowance, but it wasn't always tied to like a job or chores. How do you feel about that? Like about allowance and that being a part of like being paid for chores and things like this? What do you think about that?
Oh, good question. That question is at the center of every debate about how kids should be taught about money. And, there's pretty strong camps. Like some parents say, absolutely not. Kids should not be paid for chores. They should do their family work, and they should, and yeah, I give them money, but their family work is their responsibility. And then there's other parents that say, yes, do pay for chores. I'd be interested, maybe that's a family conversation to They could pause the podcast right now and talk
That's
about that in the van.
Everyone has an opinion right now.
Yeah, right now. I find that the stakes are not that high in this discussion because you can actually just do both. You can have categories where you say this work is family work. You do it because it's your responsibility. And this work is your job. And you do it because kids need to learn the connection between work and money and their choices. It's a teaching thing. There's also a third category, which is service work. Our church had our Start with Service week a couple weeks ago. You have your church service work. We go out and help the community. So I think kids should also learn that we serve as citizens and as church members as well.
Absolutely. Not everything you do needs to be paid for. Sometimes we do things because that's our purpose or that's what God's put in us. Or like you said, it's part of being a part of the family. That's what we say in my family. Like there are chores that I'll pay my kids for because they're above and beyond. But, you know, if you live here, we all make dirt on the floor and we all use dishes. And so we all contribute to those chores. So we don't get paid for those. So we say your payment is you get to live here and you get to eat food with us. I think it's interesting, though, that you said it's about their skill. Talk a little bit about that. How do parents determine what a kid's skill level is and what they're good at and how that fits into this mini economy idea?
Yeah, and that's another one of those things that it's not hard to do, but it takes a little bit of planning and thinking. And again, that's why I wrote it into Teach a Kid to Save, because I noticed myself struggling with these things. Kids, there's a word for it. It's called progressive tax complexity, which is that things are difficult for us at a certain age because we need to stretch to do them. It takes a new skill. But then as you get older and you get good at it, then it becomes easy. Yeah. And so you learn a new skill. So I find out that things where a parent could just do it faster if he or she did it, you know, if she did it herself, those are actually the things where you should involve the kids. Because you will go slower.
Right.
And well, yeah, if you're really just trying to get something done, you know, you're trying to get the meal cooked, you're trying to get the thing fixed, just do it yourself. But when you're trying to teach your children, involve them. And it'll take longer at first because they're learning their skill, but over time they're able to do it, and that can be part of their household job that they get paid for. And that payment signals that they're competent, that they've developed some expertise. And that's really motivating. You know, one reason why kids don't want to do chores is because there's no skill. It can be kind of isolating, like go clean your room. They don't understand the point. I mean, nobody wants to do these things. You know, you think about the worst parts of your job. It's so tough as a mature adult to get yourself to do it. Right. And kids are more impulsive than adults. So it's and sometimes we blame the kids too. We're like, well, you know, their heart's not in it. It's like, well, yeah, but we want to set them up for success. So if you teach them, if you work together to develop new skills and learn new tools, it's really enriching. The kids love it. They get better at stuff over time, and their work becomes more valuable, and then you can pay them more. Give them a raise. They deserve it.
There you go. I love that. And I also think it's good, you know, as we're teaching our kids to do these things, to affirm things that we see in them. So if we see them doing a good job at something, telling them like, wow, this is a skill that you have. Like, not everybody's good. That's like for my daughter, she's very organized. Like, she likes to take all her toys or all her things in her room and put them in little bins and label everything. And she did not get that from me. And so there have been times where I'm like, okay, I will pay you to organize this part of the kitchen or to organize something. And she does an amazing. And I always make sure to let her know, like, you are so good at this. Like, this is a gift that you have. And so for us as parents, it's not just about, you know, letting them watch all the things we do. Sometimes there's going to be things that they're better at than we are. And we let them see that that's a good thing in them and call out those things we see, speak life into them. I think that'll make a big difference too.
At the end of each chapter of Teach a Kid to Save, there's what I call the Think and Teach section. It has questions for parents, questions for kids, and then lessons for kids. And one of the lessons for kids is the work I do helps others. And I don't know if kids really consider that when their parents go off to work, that they're helping other people. They're going out there and serving, and they get paid for it. I don't think actually the parents quite remember that all the time. You know, the work we do helps others. Yeah.
That's so true. So let's talk a little bit about teaching kids about saving and about money. I love this idea of using this in the home, but what are some things that we can help our kids understand? Like, what are some main principles that your book talks about as far as saving and really understanding what money is all about?
Well, I got a lot of this from my parents when I was a kid, and some of this stuff has not changed over the years. I mean, when I was a kid and when I was, I think, 6, my job was to sweep the front sidewalk. And I got paid a quarter because, again, it was the 80s and money was worth more then. You got paid less. And I had to pay 10% to tithe first.
Okay.
You know, when we had our little tithe box and my mom and dad said, that 10% of it goes straight to tithe, and this is the Lord's money. The first fruit of everything that we make goes to God. Next, we had to save. And you can either have the kids save for a goal or you can have them save a certain percentage. One thing that does is both those categories, taxes and not taxes. We actually have taxes in our mini economy.
Oh, really?
So tithing, saving. And we have taxes where the family saves up for something that we enjoy together.
Oh, interesting.
But those gets kids in the habit that money has responsibility. Money has your different parts of your paycheck have different jobs. It's not just all for spending, right?
Right.
And when the kids get in habits of when they get money, they have these different responsibilities and they can grow towards their goals over time. That builds the habits, that builds their autonomy, that builds their capability of managing money over time. So when they become 18 and credit cards are thrust into their face when they're at college, they have the habits in place,
Yeah, I love that you do taxes.
Well,
because that's always the biggest shock when you first get a job and you're like, wait, where did all the money go?
Oh, Kristen, when I got my first job teaching high school, I got a paycheck, $1,800. And I was like, this is the most money I have seen in my life. And I went out and bought some new soccer cleats. And I wore those things one time and I left them at the soccer field and lost them.
No.
And then I paid my taxes and then I paid my bills. And I learned that my parents had been paying for a lot of stuff that I didn't know they'd been paying for. And I ran out of money. And I was like, how could I have $1,800 and run out of money? And that's one reason why you need a mini economy, because kids, it's difficult to model money as parents because we earn so much more money than the kids do. And for them, they don't understand how we can earn maybe a few $1,000s in a month and still say that we don't have enough money for
That's right.
this ice cream or this treat,
Right.
They're like, I know you're tricking me. It can't be true. But when you get paid the same amount of play money together in a little family economy, then all of a sudden the parents can model spending habits because you're spending the same amount of money.
Right. Yeah. And then I love that you said the taxes go towards something that's for the family. So we're thinking about like how that benefits other people, because that's what taxes are or should be, is it's for the benefit of where you live. And so that's part of it.
I was telling my cousin about the book, and at first she was horrified that there were taxes because she was like, so you just take the kids' money? And I was like, well, no, in theory, the money is used for the community, But we get together and have a family meeting and we say, what are we going to save up for as a family using tax money? And then we decide if the taxes are going to be high or low. Last summer, we were going to buy a trampoline, and so we had high taxes because it was expensive. And this year, we're saving up to go to the amusement park. So that's what our tax money is going to.
I love that. That's such a great idea. So for parents who might be intimidated by this whole idea, like they're like, I know we need to do this. I know we need to teach our kids about money and set up this idea. What's the simplest version that they could start with this week? Like, what's something they could do right now?
Okay, what you can do right now is spend or save Friday.
Okay.
The kids do their jobs and get paid, and then you just have the choice. And the choice: are you going to buy something little right now, or are we going to get something better later? And this is something that even very small children can do, like kindergarten age kids. I got this idea from a kindergarten teacher. That was her version of a mini economy for her kindergartners. Another thing you can do is just do a 2-week mini economy challenge. I show you how to do it in chapter 1 of Teach a Kid to Save.
Okay.
So I try to make it easy for parents. And then also throughout the book, there's just like takeaways and principles that you get, even if you're not doing a home economy system, right? What I find from doing this is that just having a plan for what we do with money makes all the difference. And like, I don't do impulse buys with the kids at all. Like the rule is when we go into the store, we decide ahead of time what we want. We don't let the store tell us what we want. If we do see something new that we want, we wait. We don't get it then. We get it later. That's one reason why we sell coupons for privileges in our mini economy store instead of just letting the kids pay us to do stuff that they want. Because kids, I mean, I want to take away their ability to do impulse buys when they're a small child because they're still developing control of their impulses. And so they need to get those habits that all good spending is planned spending.
Yeah.
So if you're just doing something this week, like if you haven't bought Teach a Kid to Save, just turn off the podcast and remember that all good spending is planned spending.
Yes.
And we decide before we go in the store what we're going to buy. We go over the shopping list with the kids. We say what's on the list. We say out loud what's not on the list. We say, kids, what is not on this shopping list that we know is in the store?
That's right.
My oldest daughter, she got tired of my wife saying it's not on my list. And so she just shouted one day in the store, "It's on my list." And she didn't even know how to write yet. She was in preschool and she was just sort of scribbling on a piece of paper and this is my list. And
yeah, my kids are in middle school now and they know if they want something, it has to be on the list. And they'll say, "Did you get what such and such?" I'm like, "Was it on the list?" Nope. Then I didn't get. So I want them to also be proactive about thinking through those things too. So yeah.
I think adults need to train themselves, I think. Like, don't buy something the first time you see it.
It reminds me of that YouTube. I think there's like a YouTube video somewhere where it's just a person filming random items that are found throughout the store that are not in the right place. So like it'll be like a aisle of vegetables and there's like a thing of cookies, or there's like a little toy sitting next to the cleaning supplies, and they'll just point out and says someone's mom said no, and then you'll go to the next place and see it again, someone's mom said no.
I love that.
We always point at that, like when you see random things that are not in the right place, someone's mom said no.
Someone's mom said no. I love it.
Well, Stephen, where can our listeners find your book?
My website is drstephenday.com, DRSTEPHEN. Stephen the way God spells it in the book of Acts. drstephenday.com. And also there you have free downloadable templates so you can get a savings chart where the kids can draw their savings goals.
Love that.
Money templates, pre-cut out coupons. So and those are all for free. And you just download those from my website. You can link to the book there, which is called Teach a Kid to Save. It's on Revell, which is Baker Publishing Group. And you can find that book wherever books are sold, Amazon, Baker's website. Request it from your local bookstore. And you can sign up for my blog on Substack, which is called Paper Robots, helping families talk about money and work. And every 2 weeks, I send out just a little 700-800 word write-up about economics, personal finance, and how families can apply that knowledge as well.
All those resources, that's just right there. So anybody that has questions, you can ask a real professor how to do it.
Oh, yeah. Email me. I would love to reply. You can find me on Instagram. I'm _paper_robots on Instagram.
Awesome. And we'll put all these links in our show notes as well, so our listeners can find that. So we'll definitely check that out. Well, thank you so much for doing this today. Before I let you go, I always ask my guests to tell me a memory from when they were a kid. So what memory do you have to share with us today?
Okay, well, staying on brand, my parents started their mini economy, and my mom sold coupons in our store for go on a bike ride with Dad, go on a jog with Dad, go shoot baskets with Dad. And my dad came home one day and found out that all his sons, there were 4 of us, had bought these coupons. And so it was a lot of exercise for him. And my mom found out, well, she wanted her husband to get more exercise. She wanted the kids, she'd get the house to herself.
Yeah.
So she found out that she could write as many of these coupons as she wanted to. So she just made a bunch, and they were selling for cheap. And my dad would come back home from work all tired, and there would be all his kids just waving these coupons in the air. Time for you to go run, Dad. And he finally had a talk with my mom. He said, Heather, can we please at least raise the price on these?
Raise the price. That's awesome. I love that. Great story. Your poor dad. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for being on the show today. This was great.
Christen, it's been so much fun. Thank you for having me.